Hello, friends. We are meeting once again. Having done all those introductory sessions for L1, now we are starting with the concept of derivatives. Though derivatives has been common topic in CWM and CFP, but CWM takes it much deeper. And like whoever connects me for L2, they always have this requisite that you would be teaching us derivative in detail, like very precisely, because the curriculum of L2 is very fantastic. Of course, like L1 is basic, but L2 is classic. So we have got lot many topics to cover in crisp, so that you are like preparing for exam, you can write it easily. Now we have got like large number of sessions. I have not recorded also. I don't know that how many sessions there are in the series, but yes, as we progress, as you demand more and more, I'll keep on doing it. But yes, what I can guide is we have to study the basics of derivatives. Then we shall be studying the strategies that is exclusive to level 2. Then we have to studying pricing metrics like pricing futures, pricing options, put call parity. All these things are very well covered in our examination. So I will try to cover up as much as I can in crisp. These are not detailed videos. And yes, of course, like you have to get into much details, then you have to figure out otherwise. And of course, you need a precise study material to prepare properly for L2. But without taking much time, let's begin with this series. What is derivatives? Like I've heard people calling this derivatives. Now pronunciation is not a major issue. Whatever you say, derivatives, all okay. Now these are the financial instruments which derive their underlying value or derive their value from some underlying assets. Now definition itself is quite tricky, and many students fumble in terms of understanding now what does it mean. So these are the financial instruments. They do not have their own value, but they derive value from the underlying assets. Nowadays, like understanding futures, forwards, options, like these are of general knowledge, but still we are trying to get little bit deeper into that. So underlying asset could be equity shares. So we are talking about a product which has a value derived based on some traded asset. It could be equity shares, right? We have seen that there are derivatives on shares, there are derivatives on index, there are debt derivatives, there are default derivatives, there are currency derivatives. So these are a few assets on which we can see derivatives available in common. But these are not, this is not the entire list. Like as we move on, we'll figure out some more or find out some more interesting types of derivatives. And we have like structured products, synthetic product. There's so many things we have to cover up in L2. It will be crazy, literally. So the basic purpose of derivative. Now, this is something very important. So I personally believe that I do have like many of the known people, students who trade in derivatives, but I always suggest that we should not deviate a product from its purpose. It has been created for the purpose of transferring price risk from one party to another one. So make sure that whatever we learn, like whatever strategies we learn, there are short earning opportunities available in derivative market. People have been making money. It's all known, but still it is recommended that you should be using this product for transferring price risk. Okay, move on. What is the history of it? The history has been very interesting, and that is all that will also help us understand the basics of derivatives. Essentially, I'm talking about those students who don't know these concepts properly. So is the reason we are starting from this scratch. So first, derivative contract can be traced to Yodoya rice market, Osaka, Japan, and it was like long back 1650, wherein the farmers were afraid about rice price falling in the future at the time of harvesting. So to enter in the or to lock in the price, they entered into the agreements with the merchants, and that took a very interesting shape, which was supposed to be eventually known as derivatives. Okay, so we take this example and try to understand what is happening here. So first of all, we have a farmer, and this is my standard example. So whatever curriculum you are studying with me, CFP, CWM, CFA, Any. I take the constant example. So farmer and another party is merchant. Now farmer is worried about price. The commodity that we understand or introduce here is rice, because it started with rice. We talk about rice. So on an average, we can say the rice is available in multiple qualities. So it starts from like 30, 40 rupees a kg and goes to 200 rupees per kg. But we say it is the 50 rupees per kg quality rice, just to make it and keep it simple. Now, farmer starts with agricultural activity, and on an average, it takes roughly 3 to 4 months for the rice to be ready. So, and is worried about what? The fall in price. So that has been the reason and merchant comes to know that he's worried. So he enters into the contract with the merchant, wherein he agrees to sell the rice at a fixed price of 50 rupees per kg. So this is the price predefined today. And whenever, we say after 3 months, when the rice is ready, farmer will sell the rice to merchant at a price defined today, that is 50 rupees per kg. Now, friends, this is derivatives. So underlying here is rice. Listen to this properly. So underlying here is rice, and the contract between two to buy or sell after 3 months is derivative. Many of the students ask once I explain like this, is it? This is derivative. This is very common. Say, for example, we all buy jewelry. So we've got two types of jewelry. One is customized and another is ready-made. So when we buy ready-made, actually we have got nothing to think about pricing. But say, for example, I'm looking for a bespoke or customized jewelry. So I place an order with the jeweler, and they say that it will take roughly 15 days to make the jewelry. Now, which price should we consider? The price at the time of placing the order, or price at the time the jewelry is delivered? Now, jeweler can give you the option. You can demand that. Now, if you are fixing the price on the date of placing the order by paying some money to the jeweler, this is also a derivative. Like, say, for example, I'm booking a flat. Now, right now, at the time of booking the flat, the price, say, for example, is 75 lakh. So that has been fixed for me. Now, eventually, now builder increases the price as the construction progresses, but I've booked the price 75 lakh rupees. That is also a derivative. So it is very practical, used in real life concept. But many a times in many of the curriculums, while I was teaching in CA, ICWA, the students essentially developed phobia. It's not that, it's very simple. Like, it is as good as you are learning the financial mathematics, time value of money, that you have seen so many videos, right? So nothing complex here. This is derivatives, and this is what it started with. And yes, the concept that we have discussed here, the example I have taken here, that is of forwards. Simply, now it started with forwards, then got futures and options. Then there is one more that I'm going to teach separately for CWML2, that is the financial swaps. We have to learn IRS, currency swap, many things. But focusing on the basics of it, okay, there are different types of derivatives that we have to learn right now. In this series, I'm not going to talk about anything other than this. So there are various types of derivatives traded on the exchanges across the world. India considered to be a very small market for derivatives. It's not a big one. They range from very simple to the most complex products. The following are the basic form of derivatives: forwards, futures, and options. Starting with forward. So the example, I reproduce that example. So we had a farmer with us, another one was merchant, right? So these are the two parties. Farmer wants to sell rice after 3 months, price fixed. today, and transaction will happen after 3 months, that is 50 rupees per kg. That is the price fixed today, right? So this is what we understood. So now let us read the definition of forward. A forward contract, or simply a forward, is a contract between two parties. It can be agreement also. Contract is definitely better. To buy or sell an asset at a certain future date. So we have defined a period. Look at this. This is after 3 months at a certain price that is pre-decided on the date of the contract. So you can see this. This is also pre-decided. The future date is also referred to as expiry date, and pre-decided price is also referred to as forward price. So now we can simply say this is our forward price, and 3 months is our expiry date. These are the private contracts. It is between me and you, as simple as that. And their terms can be customized. Now, this is the biggest advantage of the contract or the forwards. We can say they are customizable, they are not standardized. Not to be understood that way, because they are not standardized, they are more risky, they are less valuable. No. Currency derivatives we talk about. So, major market there is forward, right? So, futures are also there, but forward is much bigger. As we progress, I'll guide you who are the users of forward, who are the users of futures, and eventually options also. But I hope this definition part is very clear to all of you. Now, settlement. As soon as the contract is over, it has to be settled also. So, settlement can happen two ways. So, first one, we understand that after 3 months, when the crop is ready, the farmer will load the crop in the trucks and send it to merchant. As simple as that. So this is the example of physical settlement, and he gets the money from the merchant. As simple, you can see all around that we do have so many grain merchants, we do have contract farming happening, so they are actually getting into some kind of forwards only. Look around you, you'll get many examples. And another interesting is cash settled. So, wherein, say, we introduce both the parties. Once again, farmer and merchant, agreed price was 50. Now, it has been said by the merchant to the farmer that don't send the trucks to our place. You sell the rice in your local market. Now, the crop was huge, say 1,000 ton, and farmer tries to sell in the local market. On an average, he could sell in the market at 52 rupees per kg. This is the average price of the crop which was sold by the farmer. Now, farmer was supposed to retain 50 rupees, and balance too that he has received in excess should be given to whom? Merchant. This is an example of cash settlement, much more intuitive. And say, for example, he's not receiving 52, instead he is able to sell at 48, then you can understand that difference amount shall come from merchant to the farmer. So they are not actually, what you can say, exchanging the goods. So farmer is not sending rice to the merchant. Only the difference amount of money is paid to each other, in fact. So farmer makes more money, then he'll give it to merchant. If farmer is losing, then merchant will pay money to the farmer, right? So this is the simple way of settlement. Now, risk, it's an interesting component. Though it is not much risky, our mind always says that it is very risky. Like, if the farmer defaults, if the merchant defaults, what would happen? Now, you always say that. Recollect our example and say, for example, if price of rice increases, if the price of rice increases, merchant would be much more happy to execute it, because he has fixed the price 50 rupees and he is able to buy at 55. So that means it's a clear profit to the merchant. So he will be executing the contract. But say, for example, instead of 55, the price is just 45, then merchant will still be required to buy at 50. Now, in this case, the merchant might make default. Right? This is what we understand. But according to me, it is not a usual practice, because one time if the merchant makes default, the next time there is no farmer who would be ready to sell any produce to him. Similarly, why merchant? When the price is 55, farmer would definitely argue that way, that when price is 55 in the market, why should I be selling at 50? So farmer may also default, but understand, if either party makes default, it's a market. And then nobody would be ready to deal with these parties in future. So usually understand that there is no default. In adverse scenario, adverse situation, definitely there may be, but it's not very common. As common we understand, right? So the default risk is definitely the one which is the risk here, and it can be by both. So farmer can default, merchant can make a default. Now there is one more thing I missed to say. The we are introduce the example once again, farmer and merchant. So buyer is said to have long position, and seller is said to have short position. Right? This is the difference that we have to identify. The risk of making losses due to any of the two parties defaulting is known as counterparty risk. This is the technical term we use. The main reason behind such risk is the absence of any mediator, and that has been the reason in the next session we would be introducing future. The future comes in with intermediary. However, we cannot, as of now, standardize that futures are better than forwards. So there is no mediator between the parties who could have undertaken the task of ensuring that both the parties fulfill their obligations. The default risk is also referred to as counterparty risk, and it is also known as credit risk. Right, so that's it for today. So that was like good to go with derivatives. So we have started with forward. In the next session, I would be discussing about futures. So keep tracking, and I would definitely try to make more videos. So far, I've like recorded one video a week, but I'll definitely try to make more videos so that you can cope up with all these studies. So keep studying. I'll make sure that all the topics of level 2 are covered up in this series, because derivative has always been considered as one of the very, very important topic in CWM exam. Right? Bye for now. See you.